What inspired you to join the military?
Opportunity. There were no opportunities 57 years ago in May in Eufaula. I was from a pretty low income family, and I started working when I was 10 years old. And you couldn't go to college unless you had money. There were no opportunities for grants, contracts, scholarships. So the best opportunity was go to the Air Force, Army, Navy, Marines, or Coast Guard.
What inspired you to join the military?
Well, mostly I was looking for a way to pay for college. A friend of mine and I drove to the Eufaula Armory back when it was still active and volunteered, mostly to pay for college. I mean, there is some connection. My father was in the Navy, and my grandfather was in the Army during World War II.
What inspired you to join the military?
Nothing inspired me to join the military. I got drafted. I was back in the days when they told you were going to go in the military.
What inspired me to sign up was actually, I grew up around military my whole life, and ever since I was about 7 years old is when I made my decision to join, because I heard all these stories and I watched all the movies and stuff, and I just wanted to join and wanted to protect and serve the country.
What branch of the military did you serve in?
United States Army, Airborne Rangers.
I'm still in the Army National Guard here in Oklahoma. Currently assigned to Camp Gruber in Braggs.
I tested out and I decided to go to the Air Force in hopes to go to become an air traffic control officer.
How has the military affected your life?
I had no idea when I first enlisted that I was going to make a career of it. It has served me very well. The biggest impact would be the deployments and the time away from family. And not just on the deployment. When you return from deployments, you have to take some time. There's an adjustment period to get back into a normal pattern.
Well, it affected both good and bad. It affected in a good way because I was a very undisciplined teenager. Mean, hateful, fight, all-time trouble. Army got me straightened out that way, but it affected it negatively because it gives you things like PTSD that you have to live with for the remainder of your life. So it affected it both good and bad.
My training experience has influenced my life in a lot of positive ways, many positive ways. It instilled self-discipline, which I kind of had, but learning to be a professional, having the discipline to do what is necessary when necessary and do what is right. And some of the less favorable experiences have affected my entire life in not so great a fashion because I have PTSD, if you know what that is. And I still have that. I still have to fight it. And nothing brings it on. It just happens. And when I got out, they didn't have a diagnosis of PTSD. It was just, that's your nerves, get over it. Well, they know it's a real deal now. And it's only been since I was 60 that you could really get treatment for it. And acceptance.
What would you say to someone planning or thinking about joining the military?
Research it very well before you make the decision, and don't go in unless you plan on making a career out of it. It's worth going in, but the military is a lot different from civilian life, so I'd say make sure it's what you want before you go in.
Would you like to share any notable memories or experience from your time in the military?
I had many experiences while in the military. When I was 18 years old, I got to see Casablanca, Morocco. I got to see Rick's Cafe from the movie Casablanca. At that time, Morocco had just been a French protectorate, and most everyone spoke French. And then I got to see Europe. My funnest place was Spain, particularly Sevilla, although my favorite town on earth is Paris. I still go there every other year. If I was your age, I would move there.
What would you say to someone planning or thinking about joining the military?
The military today is quite different from when I went in. My primary motivation was, of course, patriotism. But I have to be honest that my primary motivation was opportunity, educational opportunity, and financial opportunity, because there was nothing in Eufaula. And I knew I would have to have an education to get ahead, and I did get an education, but you have to take advantage of it.
I would encourage anyone to join. There's a lot of growth when you go to the military, when you're 17, 18 years old, you think you know everything, but you have a support system with your family and everything, and getting away from that support system really allows you to mature and become self-reliant. So I would encourage anyone that wants to, not that they should feel like they're required to, but I would encourage anyone.
Research it very well before you make the decision, and don't go in unless you plan on making a career out of it. It's worth going in, but the military is a lot different from civilian life, so I'd say make sure it's what you want before you go in.
What are you excited about?
What I'm excited about for joining is basically everything about it, from boot camp to my first station, to my first deployment. Everything about it is a new adventure, and I'm just really excited about all of it.